He asked how long it took to make it or how long we followed him for. I'm using a little bit of magic movie time in this to make it seem longer than we were, but we started working on the film about halfway through the fever year, and we really shot those shows first. I had 5 weeks to prepare for those. And the big thing was, like, they knew that they wanted to capture those shows. He knew that the band, he wasn't sure if he was going to play with them again, so there was that. But so some of the shooting that we did that feels kind of far away from each other, it was actually shot very close together. So, you know, 6 months to a year, but not the fever year. Once I determined that the film was really not going to be a statistics-driven film, that facts, you know, laid out chronologically were not going to be an option, then I started to stretch more into like a mood film. But actually the early approach was, like when he and I first started talking about the project, we talked about the movies that we love, and besides like Hard Day's Night, which is one of my favorite movies ever, but that's a scripted 5-person ensemble piece, like, which we considered, but was not like, we decided to not do that. But I'm a big fan of Jazz on a Summer's Day and the Woodstock film and even Wattstax, and I think that they all do a lot to give you more mood than you think is really going to be delivered. So that had been on my mind, and once we'd shot more, we actually had one that was a version of the film that was the rough cut that we both agree we never want to see again, which was a lot more documentary structure. It had whispers of an Hollywood true story, and it was horrible. And after that, then I really just like let go into mood, also because the edit of the songs we'd been editing the songs for like a year at that point, and started to really feel like the songs were bringing good meat to the project, so I was trying to build them better bones, but not bones that all bodies have, I guess. And then also given our resources, you know, this is a super low-budge movie that everybody threw down for, so to be able to shoot it really simply and to kind of paint pictures to that music, some things that we shot, so that last part with Head Soak, the song that's like the ode to the road and the skyway and the bridge, that's the last thing I shot, and I shot that a year ago in February, way after the fact. I mean, we're presenting it for you, but you know, Andrew wasn't with us when we shot that. But you know, the decision to keep kind of making these music videos within the film and kind of balancing it out, it's a long process. But I worked with my dear friend Aaron Wickenden, who shot all that stuff with me, and he's a great kind of, he's a verite shooter, but not a verite action shooter. Do you know what I mean? He does great photographs, and so we worked with that resource and I felt like it was a good match for Andrew's music. What was the initial vision for the film, and how did it evolve? The original commission was, he said, you know, nobody's captured on film what I do live on stage yet. He said, I cook from scratch every night in front of people, and he said that Austin City Limits was the closest they ever got to that. And he said, do you think you can do it? And I was like, yeah, I could do it, or I'll figure it out. So that was the original commission, was like, can you show people what it is I'm doing? Because I just built this over 10 years. It's probably about to change. And he also knew that YouTube videos were around, but like none of that really shows it. Music videos don't tell that story. So that was the original kind of commission, but then also hopefully something that would have a different shape and mood than most music movies would have. You know, which I think there are mixed results on that. So, and it grew over time. I mean, I never set out to make a movie about him being sick. And to me, the film is actually not about being ill. It's actually about the creative process. It just happens to show you a snapshot in time of someone who has, you know, an unfortunate imbalance for a time. So I tried to make something that honored his biorhythms. I didn't want to make something that was kind of like a violent act. And also like to speak to what everybody else is saying about like the intimacy and, you know, how difficult it can be. You know, what's a little bit for us is tons for him. And so I have to respect that even today. You know, I also had to respect what we all put into it, but I did try and make something that matched his biorhythms and kind of respected how he's made. He's very careful and deliberate person.